Hello and welcome back into another episode of 1776 Podcast. This is our second episode. Should have been days ago that I did this, but I got sick. And the kids got sick. And so now it's Saturday. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about a few different things. One thing I did say we were going to talk about this time was the UN. So first off, the Pact for the Future that was adopted on September 22nd by the UN. There's a lot to it. And we got a video we're going to watch here in a little bit. It's Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Not too familiar with her, but she's reading a little bit about it. Not sure where she gets her information, but figured I'd share the video. You can take from that what you will. We're going to dive into this a little more throughout. But if you notice, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when there's stuff like this happening. P. Diddy got arrested, and then nobody thought about what the UN was doing. It's just funny how stuff like P. Diddy getting arrested, just like last time. Think about what was happening last time P. Diddy got arrested. Keeps you from the real news. So, I'll bring that up here shortly. We're going to talk about the continuity amendment that is being pushed by parts of U.S. Congress. They want that to be the 28th Amendment. We'll talk about George Soros and his purchase of over 200 radio stations. And just one other thing we're going to touch on, and whatever else comes up. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Click over here to it. Alright, so like I said, this is Dr. Tenpenny, and just before this, she just basically is stating that there is basically what I just told you. So we'll go ahead and click that, let that get started. Just a second.
Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. It says that this is the power structure fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen, or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared. Have water, food, digital.
We'll go ahead and stop that there. That's crazy. Take from that what you will. Not making any claims. What I am saying is that it's not just the nation. It's the world. You want the world. Look at who these players are. I mean, really. Look at the election. Look at everything that is going on. 2 attempts on the president's life. The DOJ puts out the letter from the second assassin, alleged assassin, or admitted assassin, charged assassin, what have you. Puts out the letter that states in that letter what his intentions were, his apology for failing, if he did so, and a bounty, a freaking bounty on the president. But the DOJ puts that out. It's really crazy, right? It's really crazy. Look how long it took for the whole Epstein list to come out and things like that. But within a week that comes out. It just really goes to their narrative and their goals. It really shows you what they want. And I'm not going to elaborate on they. You can deduce from that what you will. These are the reasons that all the smoke and mirrors, the P. Diddy trial, the things like that are going on now. And then why is the U.S. Congress, why are they pushing for this continuity amendment? If you haven't looked at that yet, it's about if there was mass casualties, mass casualties. About if there was mass casualties. Apparently, I can't speak today. That's okay. It's Saturday. All right, let's try this again. Apparently, they're worried about some huge event happening. Something happening that is going to wipe out Congress. What could that be? I have no idea. But they're worried about it. And they want to implement this amendment that allows for them to quickly pull in new congressmen to fill those places. Unelected, unvoted, haven't been voted on. They want governors to have a list of people who they feel should be in line. And if something happens, they're just cycling through. Super weird. Super weird. Seems like they're kind of looking for something, right? Seems like they think something's going to happen. So there's that. That kind of brings to question, like, why did the FCC rush the approval, fast track the approval of George Soros's purchase of over 200 radio stations? I think there was like 230 radio stations that George Soros just purchased. FCC regulations, it generally takes 6 months to a year for them to go through an approval process, but they skipped that. FCC decided we're just going to skip that this time for the first time ever. And they did it for a foreign national, right? For someone who's not a U.S. citizen, which there's also regulations on them owning over 25%. And, well, he does. Letting that go too. So why did this have to be done now? Why the rush? Incidentally, Tim Walz, the Democratic VP choice of Scamala, he met with Alex Soros, George Soros' son, just a few days ago in his living room, in Alex Soros' living room. It's super weird. Super weird, right? But I mean, like I said, I'm just, just talking here. I have no idea what any of this means. None at all. No idea what it means that potential vice president meets with satanic Soros' son. It's crazy. Everything that's going on right now with P. Diddy, with all this other stuff coming out, you can't pay attention to anything. Keep in mind, they're coming after your kids, right? So we're focused on all this stuff. Guarantee there's something in the works for our kids again. Guarantee. Because that's what they want. It's plain and clear. There's a lot of information I'm going to put on my Facebook things that I find that are interesting. We can say interesting. I think that's a word I can use. A lot of things that I've seen that just they really explain a lot. You know, when you actually sit there and you listen to these things and you pay attention to everything that's going on, and it's very hard to pay attention to half of what's going on. But when you really look at these things and you dissect them, it really makes you wonder why. Why are we not more involved? What is there for us to do when we don't agree with our government? What avenue do we have? Militias are not legal in all 50 states. All 50 states have in their state constitutions where any militia doing any paramilitary activity is unconstitutional. But one thing I will say is no matter what, we have the freedom of assembly, we have the freedom of speech, we have the right to bear arms, and we have an obligation. We have an obligation to our country. We have an obligation to our fellow Americans. And you know, it's interestingly enough, I was watching a piece of Patrick Bet-David's podcast, PBD, and you know, he actually threw me off guard. He said that he had zero sadness, I forget the word he used, zero anything for conservatives that are upset about the Soros going out and purchasing all these radio stations and everything. You know, and it threw me off guard. I know that he meant, you know, now I know that he meant the ones that actually have money, the one that have the finances. You know, what are you doing? You know, okay, you want to go play golf, you're 35, 40 years old, want to go out and play golf every day, 5 days a week. What kind of life is that? You know, and if that's something you want to do, then shut up. Don't say anything. You can't talk on other things if you're not willing to put your money, put your efforts, and your loyalty where your mouth is. And you know, and that's true. Like, I mean, George Soros is out here buying radio stations so he can control the media. I think he bought a Cuban radio station as well. And you know, what purpose would he have for all this? Obviously, controlling the media. I mean, you can do studies to see how connected, how tied in George Soros is with everything, with Antifa, with all kinds of things. And you know, I don't know of one person that is, you know, other than you know who you see. You know, Trump obviously, he's doing everything he can, and you know, there's going to be people. I know I've got people on my Facebook they're going to be anti me now because I support Trump, and I don't care. I really don't. I don't think any less of you as a person for being ignorant when it comes to certain things. And like I said, that's my opinion, and I have the right to that opinion, just like you have your rights to your opinions. You know, if you want to get on here and you want to say things, go ahead. Go ahead, that's fine. I understand. You know, and I could no more expect you not to say anything. If you're that kind of person, then you can expect me to not say what I'm saying. So, with that being said, I don't think that people who vote or going to vote for Kamala are bad people per se. But what I do think is that you really need to open your eyes. you really need to open your eyes. You really need to, look at what is going on. This has been going on for a long time. And, one of the things I was going to talk about was the Bretton Woods Agreement that happened in 1945. I think is when it was signed. What that did is that, I think I went off track from what I was talking about before, but we're here now. So what that did was that created like a centralized it created the IFN, but it based everything off of gold, actually off of the U.S. dollar, which was based off of gold. By the end of the 60s, that was gone. So the intention there was to create that one world money that didn't work. and now they're trying to do that again. So there's been a lot of back and forth between BRICS, or about, BRICS currency, which if you don't know what that is, Google it, BRICS, and whether or not it will be adopted, and there will be another Bretton Woods moment. But what you really need to look at is everything that is going on with this Pact for the Future. The push by the WHO, which I talked about before in my last episode. There's so much going on for global control, and that's what they want. That's what the elites want. That's what the cabal wants. That's whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, whatever. I mean, the bad people, and that's really what you look at. It's not going to be easy. And for those of you that are Christians, as I am, there's so many things that we have to look at and we have to do. And a lot of people think of John 3:16 and they say, that this is something to remember, but they forget about John 3:17. And I would implore you to go look and read John 3:17, because there's a lot of Christians that will get on there and on whatever, and they will bash people that don't believe. But because of the way the world is going, you really need to knuckle down. And not really because of the way the world is going, but because you should. That's something that you've got to get a handle on. John 3:16 is fantastic. But you really need to look at John 3:17 as well. It says, "For God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through Him." What's the first part of that? He did not send His Son to condemn the world. It's not our job to condemn others. Most people know that by our standards, by our views, that they know what we feel, they know what we think. And the fact of the matter is that we want to set examples, and we want to reach other people, and we want them to be able to understand that the things that we're seeing in this world, the things that we're seeing that the UN is doing, the global outreach, the one world money, one world system, all of this, and the mark and everything is something that is biblical. But how are they gonna feel when all you want to do is condemn them? And you need to show them the love of Christ, show them Jesus. That's all you can do. That's what you're supposed to do. This got way off topic. This is not on my syllabus at all. But there is two things I want to leave you with. And those two things are both scriptures. One is in Ecclesiastes, and we'll end with the one that's in Ecclesiastes. But the one that is in the other one. Let's pull that up real quick. All right. So the other one is going to be Ephesians. Let's see, 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against worldly governors. This is from the Geneva Bible. The princes of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. That's deep. That's deep, and that's how it's always been. We've always wrestled against what we were wrestling against now. It's always been the cabal. It's always been the Illuminati. It's always been the worldly governors, the princes of darkness of this world. That's not saying that anyone that's in government is dark, is satanic, is this and that, but really look at everything. Look! Open your eyes to the music. Open your eyes. Just open your damn eyes. I mean, goodness. So many people that don't want to look. They don't want to give it any time. This is reality. You know, years ago it was the YOLO. You only live once. Well, yeah, you only live once. Your kids only live once too. You say you'll protect your kids, you'll die for your kids, but will you live for your kids? It's a lot harder. I guarantee you that's a lot harder. You only have to die once. Why don't you try to live for them? It's food for thought. And now I'll leave you with one that is, I thought was kind of humorous, but I think probably some won't find humor in it. Ecclesiastes 10 and 1. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. It's in the Bible.